DH Impact Media, Darion Hopkins, the Shakeback Media Group. It's your boy, Willie Epting Jr., and we are live, loud, and in color. Darion, baby, what's going on, kid?
Man, it's been a while since we actually, been on camera with each other. It's been a little bit, but we finally figured it out, and we're finally here on DH Impact Media Podcast, and we're here with Shakeback Media Group. So make sure y'all tune in because, oh my God, I got a lot to say with these topics that we have today. So make sure y'all follow us on social media before we get into any of these topics, y'all, because this is going to be a hell of a show. We're not going to keep y'all waiting. We're going to get down to the nitty gritty of things. So, like I said, to put the social media's handles is at the bottom for Twitter and Instagram as well. If you want to follow us on Facebook as well, which is Shakeback Media Group, DH Impact Media. But yeah, we're definitely here, man. But how you been, brother? I know you had your shoulder surgery and all that. Seems like you back to 100%.
Nah, not 100%. As a matter of fact, I'm still going through therapy right now. I actually had therapy this morning. I had a setback with my hand, my right hand, the same the same side that I had the surgery on. I've developed this condition. They call it complex regional pain syndrome. Basically, what has happened that since the surgery, my hand has been swollen since the week of the surgery. We're now there. We're now almost 6 months after the surgery. My hand is still swollen, and we talked about that before on one of the Raider podcasts, or it may have been on Instagram. But so ever since, I mean, it still hadn't gotten any better. As a matter of fact, they want to do some more stuff. I've actually started doing therapy on my hand, but they want to do some additional like injections or whatever. So I'm not really feeling that too much, but it could get pretty painful because there's pins and needles. There's pins of needles in my hand and numbness and tingling into my fingers, which indicates that there's some sort of nerve issue. So I'm just doing therapy on it right now. We're gonna make a decision on whether or not I want to do that other aggressive thing. So we'll see.
Oh, that's tough, man. That's tough. Shoulder is usually connected to everything when it comes to your arm and stuff of that nature. So I can completely understand, man. I could completely understand, I got shoulder pain in my shoulder, but it's not like what you're going through right now. But yeah, hopefully the speedy recovery. Hopefully we get everything back. This is the Tuesday shakeover, and I had to throw on the intellectual glass today because I had to see it through. I got to talk about some things, man. But I know, see, I wear my hat to the back because I didn't know you was going to wear any Raiders thing of that nature. Shout out to my fiance. She got me this hat for my birthday. You see, she got her name embroidered on there. So shout out to her. She got it stitched on there. So shout out to her. She actually came to the Baltimore game that I went to. So shout out to her. She don't know a lick of football, but she definitely supports, what I do on this YouTube thing and repping the Raiders, but this is not a Raiders show today.
You know what though, dog?
What?
I got a hat just like that.
Really?
Exactly like that.
I think we might have the same hat then, brother.
Yeah, I mean, it is the same hat. That's what I'm saying. It's exactly like that. I think I got mine from Vegas.
Okay, she went and Liz over the weekend, my birthday weekend, and she had to get her name stitched on. So everywhere I go, she's with me. So
Yeah, that's what you call marking your territory.
facts. Absolutely. But we had opening day over the weekend, Willie, and I know you wanted to talk about opening day weekend, knowing that my Philadelphia Phillies looked okay. They didn't look that bad. They is playing today. Um, are you still repping them Oakland A's or are they gonna be the Las Vegas A's? What we doing, Willie?
Well, right now they are just the A's because, as you know, and everybody out there, and thank you guys out there for checking us out on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and of course Twitter, and also Instagram TV through the Shakeback Media Group's Instagram feed. So We appreciate you guys out there. We welcome all the dope comments and even the ones that aren't so dope. Just keep it respectful. But but since the last season ended, 2024 ended, that actually ended the lease between the A's and the Coliseum in the town. So once that was done, and there was going to be no hope for a new stadium either in the East Bay or somewhere along the South Bay near Fremont or San Jose, since that all fell apart, then it was a foregone conclusion that that the A's were going to be moving to Vegas. And I've seen the prototype of the stadium. It is pretty dope. I mean, it is really dope. So right now they're just known as the Athletics because they're playing at a minor league stadium in West Sacramento, California.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm still rocking with them though.
Hey, long as you're still rocking with them, hey, I mean, my Philadelphia Phillies, man, I know we won a lot of games last year and we just underachieved last year. And for my Philadelphia Phillies right now, I mean, I thought we had a game today, but we don't actually. We're 3-1 right now, and people are seeing the Phillies World Series contenders, even though that we still have Trey Turner, we still have Bryce Harper, we still have everybody from last year, especially from the mound and everything of that nature. Everybody's talking about we are a World Series contender. I'm not going to go that far just yet because we won almost 90 something games last year and we didn't even get to the NLCS. We didn't even get that far. So I'm not going to go that far with the Philadelphia Phillies. I'm going to take it one game at a time. But you just wanted to talk about, the Yankees, which I can't stand because, Philadelphia Phillies fans can't stand the Yankees.
Right.
We can't stand them at all. So I want you to break down this Yankees team. I heard it's a rumor going out saying that they might be getting tested for all these hits and these home runs they be getting over the last weekend. Talk about it, Willie. Talk about it.
Well, a couple things. I mean, the Yankees, there's not a lot of fan bases other than the Yankees fan base that like the Yankees.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not even sure if all of the Yankees fan base like the Yankees. I personally hate them. They are in the same category for me as the Kansas City Chiefs, as well as the Dallas Cowboys and the Boston Celtics.
Yes.
But in terms of the Yankees, they got these torpedo bats out there that they're using. And I saw some fake news. And you have to understand, when I first saw this, I forgot that I saw two things, actually. The first thing I saw was Aaron Judge had been popped for PED usage. And so I immediately went to MLB Network and I'm like, oh, wait a minute, today's April Fool's Day. So they got me. And then the second thing was that the Yankees had traded Aaron Judge and who else was it? Oh, Aaron Judge and I want to say Jazz Chisholm to the Dodgers for Mookie Betts and Shohei Ohtani. I'm like, okay, you got me once, but you're not going to get me again. We all know that that's fake news. That would never happen. So
that's just absurd. That's absurd to put that trade out there.
Yeah, there's no way. And The Rock means no way that would ever happen. But the Yankees, man, I mean, look what they did against the Brewers in the opening series of the season. When you talk about what they did to their big homie, Nestor Cortez, who of course was the Yankees with the Yankees the last several years, and he comes in as the Brewers opening day starter, and they hang 20 on him. They hang 20 on the Brewers on opening day. So when you look at the Yankees and the fact that they hit 15 home runs in 3 games, which is a record. Aaron Judge hit 5 home runs in a 3-game set. It's not a record, but it's still worth noting how significant that is. And then for the Yankees also, they're going to have to win a lot of games, I think, in my opinion, when it comes to that. They're going to have to score a lot of runs because even though Carlos Rodon had a stellar outing in the opener, I don't really know how their staff, starting rotation is going to be without Garrett Cole. Now, Max Fried is there. They do have the rookie from last year, Luis Hill and Schmidt, right. and as I mentioned, Carlos Rodon. So they've got 4 bona fide starters. I actually picked Max Fried to win the Cy Young Award, and I don't quite know why I did that, but I did. And the Yankees, they're the Stankies, as the big little brother, Dwayne Sutton. No love for the Stankies. That's right. But yeah, the Yankees. The only reason why I was rooting for the Yankees was because Jose Trevino, their catcher, was with them the last few years after being traded from the Rangers, and he was an all-star in 2024. He's been on the hashtag was a baseball show a couple times. I've been able to go out to his toy drive out in North Dallas, the northern part of Dallas, rather. That was pretty cool. So he was the only reason why I was even remotely rooting for them. But now he's in Cincinnati, so now I'm rooting for the Reds.
All right, so from what I'm seeing here, I don't know if you saw it on the Pat McAfee show about Sean Casey talking about these torpedo bats are actually totally legal. But I just want to play this clip because I'm not going to show it because they're going to say copyrights of ESPN and all that nature.
Right.
But I'm only going to play what Sean Casey had to say about these torpedo bats. Let me make sure y'all can hear it here.
Nothing yet.
Can you hear it?
Uh-uh.
All right. So let me just. I thought I was gonna be able to play it through my speakers, but that's just not going to happen here. So,
well, I'll tell you what. Why don't you, if you can send it to me and I can see if we can get it in here before the end of the show.
Well, I could actually do this then, because at the end of the day, share screen is the best thing that you could ever have on when it comes to StreamYard in itself.
Facts.
So that's the one thing I can say about the share screen with that. So I'm going to see if we can hear it now. So this is what had to be said here, but turn this down a little bit.
Is it going to get banned or promoted in the MLB, do you think?
Well, it's definitely going to get promoted. I mean, it goes through all the specs. It's totally legal. I think the biggest thing they did here, because there's a bat performance lab that Marucci Invictus bats have down in Baton Rouge, and I think a lot of the players have been going there for years. And if you go back to Paul Goldschmidt in 2022, on the bottom of his bat, like, he had a bat like this, and at the bottom of his bat was like a puck shape. And everyone's like, oh, man, what's going on with Goldschmidt's bat? And what they found is when he was swinging, he liked a little more weight at the bottom. It felt better, going through the zone with the metrics. Well, what they found with the torpedo bat is all they did was for a guy like Anthony Volpe. So the sweet part of the bat is like right here, right?
Mm-hmm.
What they did was what they found was Volpe hits a lot of his contact more towards the label, right? More down here towards the label. So what they did was they took the barrel and they moved it down a little bit more and made this end part thinner. That's why it starts to look like a torpedo bat. So what they're saying is, okay, if he hits it on the barrel and when he misses more towards the label, or he's hitting it towards the label more. Why are we not putting that sweet spot of the bat, the density of the bat? Why aren't we moving it down on the bat? That's all they're doing. And then they have to figure out how to weigh it just right too, because at the end of the day, like for me, I like the 34-inch, 32-ounce bat. Like if I was going to move those metrics, I wanted to make sure it still felt good in my hands. So these are totally legal, Pat. And at the end of the day too, the old saying, it's the Indian, not the arrow, as far as like at the end, if the Yankees went out and weren't good, they'd be like, oh, these torpedo bats have to go. But the fact that they came out and hit so many pumps out the gate, next thing you know, was like, what's up with these torpedo bats? So you still got to have guys like Aaron Judge and Jazz Chisholm and Anthony Volpe and Austin Wells swinging the bat for them to be good.
Enough said.
Well, the thing is that, number one, it is legal. It may not be ethical, but it's legal.
It's definitely legal.
But here's the thing, though. This is the modern day version of the PED era. It's just that the bats are now on PEDs.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
Yeah, so
the bats that's on drugs now.
I think what baseball is looking at, and this is my humble opinion, the game has progressed so much over the last 5 years, and I actually heard something the other day that they're going to implement the challenge for the balls and strikes next year. Now, they tested it out in the spring training. It had mixed reviews. I personally don't have 1 foot in or out at this point. But what it's going to do is that it's it could do one of two things. It could be the best thing and it could be the worst thing at the same time, because now you could have these potential 11 to 10 games, these 15 to 14 games. And when Major League Baseball implemented the policy or the process to reduce the time of the games, well, that may take a hit. No pun intended.
No pun intended.
That may take a hit because when you have those 15 to 14 type games, the games are actually going to be longer. So it's a feast or famine thing for me. And with the specialization of rotations and bullpen people, they did implement some of the other changes, of course, where you can't just come in and throw one pitch and then you get taken out. You got to face, I think it's a minimum of 2 batters, or maybe you have to get a minimum of 1 out. I can't remember what it was. But then when you talk about the increased sizes of the bases, that part of the game, in my opinion, has made it that much more exciting. And what it has done is it has brought a level of athleticism back to baseball that we hadn't seen probably in the last 20 years or more.
So now with the torpedo bats and the bats that's on crack, I'm gonna say that the bats that's on crack. Now, going off that, what would be your like early prediction of who would be winning the whole thing? If you had an early prediction of what team that will win the whole thing, what team will it be?
I mean, well, you got to go to the lineups and see who has the more dominant lineups. And when you talk about the lineups, obviously you're talking about the Yankees, you're talking about the Dodgers. You can throw in the Padres in there for a degree. You can throw in the Boston Red Sox, who I actually think are going to be very, very good this year. And I actually have them going to the playoffs. And somebody that's on my team actually has the Red Sox going to I almost said the Super Bowl, going to the World Series. So when you look at it from that standpoint, you have the Red Sox, you have the Dodgers, you have the Mets with Pete Alonso and Juan Soto out there in Queens. Mm-hmm. Then you think about what we talked about with the Dodgers, the Padres. It's usually the usual suspects, and the usual suspects usually revolve around the teams that have the most money, which those teams that I mentioned
have the most money, right?
Have the most money. So, but again, I can tell you right now that with the Yankees, there's one thing that you can be for sure of, and that's that Giancarlo Stanton is going to miss a significant amount of time, and he's already out for the beginning of the season. So last year was a bit of an anomaly for him because he played, I want to say, at least 140 games, which I don't think he's played that much since he's been in New York. But when you think of the Kansas City Royals of the world with Bobby Witt Jr. and Salvador Perez and everything that they have there, when you think about the Cleveland Guardians, who may not, they weren't necessarily a bash it out of the park type of team the last few years,
right?
But it seems like with these boat paddles for bats that they're using, I might be able to go out there and get me a couple of dingers there, Darian. I don't know.
With a bad shoulder.
With the bad shoulder. I might have to turn to the left and hit switch hitter or something. I don't know.
Listen, I haven't played baseball a day in my life. I do know the game of baseball, but I'll probably get a few hits out there with these bats. The way these bats is looking. And the way Sean Casey just explained it. What? Put me at bat right now. Put me at bat right now and give me my money's worth. And give me like $100 million, and I'll bet you I hit some out in left and right field, probably center field too. Who knows?
Nah, man, I can't let you disrespect the game like that, bro.
Listen, I probably can. I probably can. or just put me on the mound. Put me somewhere. Give me some money to know that the way these bats are right now. Just give me a shot. I bet you.
I tell you what, you'll have a very good chance, since the DH is now universal in both leagues. You would have a better opportunity as a DH to do just that, because all you're doing at that point is being a professional hitter. And Sean Casey has the cachet to talk about that, because he was a pretty good hitter in his own right.
Right. Absolutely. But let's get to Mo Green. What's going on, Mo Green? What's up, brother? Shout out to my brother. He said, "What's good, bro? Stop by, say salute." I love these new bad Yankees. Messed up my parlay with them home runs, but that game was super fun to watch. Arku was like, I know baseball, I'm slowly learning the stats. I am too, though. I am too. I've been following my Phillies a lot, especially through spring training. So I've been learning the stats a lot as well.
You know what? Go back to that last comment. Yeah. I hope I'm not going to butcher his name. I'm going to say
just say Arku.
Huh?
Just say Arku.
Arku. Check this out. I have the hashtag Brothers of Baseball show on the BGC Sports Network. It airs Monday through Friday, 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 12 o'clock a.m., 6 o'clock a.m., and then 1 o'clock p.m., 7 p.m., 1 a.m., and then 7 a.m. Those are Central Standard Times.
If you want to put that on DH Impact Media, you got the word, bro.
Yeah, well, the thing is that that's a network show. Yeah. So I have to be careful with that. But what I'm saying is that what I know about the sport, and the sport is my favorite sport. It's the sport that I played the best. I will be more than happy to explain to you some of these statistics. And a lot of these statistics, some of them, I shouldn't say a lot, but there's enough of them that are kind of new, like launch angles and spin rates and all that kind of stuff. And I'll be more than happy to explain that to you at some point. You can check it. I actually can put that stuff on Twitter if you're on Twitter. So you see the Twitter handle right there. Just follow me there, and we can dig into it.
And these new bats may go to batting cage. I'm 41, but I think I got a chance with these bats. Call me, can't get it right. That's right, brother.
Something wrong with his head, boss.
You 41, I'm 39. We right up there. So I definitely agree.
Look, man, the last time I went to the batting cage, I want to say it's probably been about 12 years, I want to say.
Ooh.
And I had my shoulder was injured then. But the batting cages, yeah, it really won't. It's fun, but it doesn't compare to anything close to even high school pitching, for that matter. Maybe even travel squad. I mean, like 13, 14-year-olds, those kids that be playing in the Little League World Series.
Yeah.
Nah, those batting cages, man. It's just the batting cages are there for you to get your timing down and get your vision right, not necessarily to because the speed of the ball is not that much, and then I don't really even think that they throw any off-speed stuff. So it's just a matter for a hitter to get their timing down and their vision right.
But let's get to some other stuff now, because I know we only got like an hour and 15. Like we gotta move on. But Final Four.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about the NCAA March Madness. I mean, even though it's April Fool's Day, it's still March Madness when it comes to college basketball. We are down to the Final Four when it comes to the women and the men. Now, the men have all 4 number 1 seeds in there with Houston, Duke, Auburn, and what's the last one? Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
It's right there.
Yeah, Auburn, Duke, Houston.
Yeah.
And what was the last one you said?
I'm about to find out right now. Because I know
somebody drop it in the chat, because we didn't.
They play it on Saturday. They play on Saturday. Okay, so Florida, Auburn,
Houston, that's it.
Duke. So we got 2 SEC teams. We got 1 ACC team, and I think Houston plays in the Big 12. Yes, they play in the Big 12. So we have these games coming up, and they're all the number 1 seeds from each region. Willie, you wanted to give your predictions on this, and for me, I've been covering it on my other channel, the Sports Wire. I've been doing a lot of play-by-play for March Madness, and if you had to pick one team to win it all out of these 4 teams, who would be that one team that you will pick that's like, okay, that's a unanimous decision? Or will it be a team that like, okay, there's some underdogs, they might ball out and they might take it? So who do you got winning it?
Well, I really don't know much about college basketball these days from a men's or women's standpoint, but I do keep enough of a fingerprint on it to be able to engage in conversations like this. Florida appears to be the best team in the nation. They appear to have it all from an offensive and defensive standpoint. I do remember them going into Auburn and beating Auburn which to me may have helped solidify for them the number 1 seed, or the number 1 seed where are they, in the South? Yeah, they're in the South, I believe. And Auburn has that kid in the middle that I can't think of his name, but when I saw him play in the Elite 8 game, I was like, this kid kind of reminds me a little bit of the Drew Gooden that was at Kansas, not the Drew Gooden that made it to the NBA.
NBA, right? You talking about Janai Broom?
Yeah, exactly. So, and then when you look at Duke, Cooper Flag, people are saying that Cooper Flag is going to be the unanimous number 1 pick in the NBA draft next season, but looking at his game, he can definitely shoot the pill. Yeah. That is not a given. I mean, that goes without saying. However, I'm a little iffy on his ball handling skills at the next level, and he does not appear to be that great of an athlete. I could be wrong, but that's just what I have seen from him thus far. And for Houston has the best defense in all of sports combined. I don't care what sport it is. You could say badminton, fool. You could say cricket. Their defense is smothering. And Kelvin Sampson, can we just give a shout out to him? Because he's got this Houston squad back in a place where we saw them back in the 80s, where
I'm about to say that.
Slamma Jamma and all that. But this team is not anything like those teams. I mean, this team will get up in your shorts, and they're with you everywhere you go. So if you made me pick one squad right now, I probably would pick Florida.
Okay. Now, for me, this is tough because you took every word out of my mouth, but you got an underdog in Houston named LJ Cryer that did his thing against my Tennessee Vols. And then you had Sharp. I forgot his first name, but Sharp was amazing against Tennessee when they beat us 69-50. But if you look at Cryer had 17. You had Sharp. Sharp had a good game as well, but he made some clutch shots. But I gotta say this about Houston. Houston is a team that is going to give all three of these teams a run for their money if they make it to the national title. Now they have to play Duke. Now Duke is a good defensive team as well, but we're talking about the best defensive team in college basketball, and that's Houston. I mean, even though Duke is 35-3 on the year, and Houston is 34-4 on the year, really is a combined. Cooper Flag, he averaged 18 a game, 7 rebounds a game, then almost 4.5 assists a game for his size. He might not be as athletic, but I'm not going to make the comparison, but look at the non-athletic players in the NBA, like Nikola Jokic. He's not that athletic, but he could dominate you from any part of the floor. And that's what Cooper Flag kind of reminds me of. I'm not making a comparison. I know he's going to have to put on a little bit of weight because he's still young, but Cooper Flag is him. But if Janai Broom from Auburn can stay healthy, knowing that he hurt his elbow in that last game, in the Elite 8 game, if he could come back and be healthy the way he was in that game, I like Auburn. But a lot of people like to sleep on Auburn because Auburn's in the SEC. They this be the third time they be playing Florida. Actually, no, it'd be like the fourth time if I'm not mistaken, because
they play in the SEC tournament.
They playing right now in the Final Four, but they played in the SEC tournament and they played twice in the regular season, so they already know each other. So I'm still going to pick Duke to advance over Houston. But it's not going to be a blowout. I still have Duke because of the experience. But Kelvin Sampson is going to have them playing. Houston is my underdog out of the whole Final Four. But it's going to be Duke, and it will be Florida in the national championship game. And I'm going to pick Florida because of one guy. They're comparing him to Stephen Curry. And I absolutely agree with this. Walter Clayton Jr. Enough said. That guy is amazing. I've seen him in the Sweet 16 when they was struggling. Who they was playing in the Sweet 16? I totally forgot who they played in the Sweet 16, but it was one team that gave them a run. No, I think it was Xavier. It wasn't Xavier. It was one team that in that Sweet 16 to get them to that Elite 8 gave them a run for their money. And Walter Clayton Jr. put them on their back. He put them on their back. When nobody couldn't find a shot, he was the one that was able to find a shot. So it was I forgot what team it was at that time. If y'all could put it in the chat, that's fine. But Walter Clayton Jr. is the reason why I am picking Florida to win it all.
Yeah, that was against who? Oh, Texas Tech.
Yes.
Texas Tech.
Was it? No, they just played Texas Tech in the Elite 8.
Oh, you mean to get to the Sweet 16 or from the Sweet 16? It was
Sweet 16, yeah.
Okay, so that actually was Maryland.
Oh yeah, it was Maryland that gave him a run for. No, actually, no, I'm wrong. It was UConn. It was UConn.
Oh, in the opening round, yeah.
In the second round when they won 77-75. When I watched them play UConn, I was like, okay, you can't tell me nothing now. You can't tell me nothing about Florida. And even though that I'm so SEC biased, I'm really because I'm a Tennessee fan at the end of the day. But Walter Clayton Jr. is him. Probably the best player, probably the best guard out of all these four teams that's in it. So I'm taking Florida to win it all.
Okay. I feel that.
Yeah, I'm gonna talk about the women's real quick before we go on to our next topic, but it could have been all number one seeds for this. But Juju Watkins, oh my God, if Juju Watkins was playing in that game, it would have been a different story. I would have picked USC to beat UConn, and Juju would have got her redemption from last year. But UConn is in the Final Four with UCLA. UCLA, the first time being in the Final Four in history when it comes to women's college basketball. But Texas and South Carolina, that game is going to be amazing. Now, South Carolina had two close games. They almost lost to Duke, and they almost lost to another time. I forgot the other team's name, but they almost lost the last two games. But Dawn Staley, a Philly native. I'm sorry, I'm gonna be Philly biased. South Carolina is really good. Malaysia Fawali coming off the bench, which I think she should be a starter for South Carolina. But hey, Madison Booker for Texas. She's wearing that 35. Who wore 35 at Texas in the NBA? That's in the NBA right now.
Well, he wore number 7 at Texas. He wears 35 in the league now. But yeah, you talking about Kevin Durant, the Slim Reaper.
But that when it comes to that mid-range shot, it looked like Kevin Durant. It looked like Kevin Durant with that mid-range shot. But if I had to pick out of these four teams to go to the national championship, I'm still taking South Carolina to go back to the national championship. And I'm going to pick UConn.
Boy, that's going to be an awesome matchup. Now, South Carolina has a lot of size, and Paige Beckers, she can shoot it like from anywhere. I actually like that particular prediction. Don't ask me to pick who I think is going to win, because truthfully, I want to see Dawn Staley get it, because she's one of my favorite, not just female players of all time, but she's one of my favorite players, period, of all time.
Facts. And it's funny that my mother grew up in the same area as her, but they went to the same, my aunt went to the same school as Dawn Staley, went to Dobbins Vocational Tech. So they both went to the same school. So at the end of the day, like I'm rooting for Dawn Staley. I'm rooting for her, but then you got Gino Auriemma on the other side. Probably one of the best college coaches to ever do it in the women's game. And, bringing in AZ Fudd. AZ Fudd decided to come back and play another season at UConn next year. She's not even going to the draft. Paige Becker's probably the only one out of UConn that's going to the draft. They got the freshman Sarah Strong that had a heck of a game last night where she had 21 and 15 as a freshman against USC. So it's not just Paige Beckers. You got two freshmen that have Joyce Edwards from South Carolina, and you got AZ Fudd from UConn, and they go against each other on a national title stage. Is bound to be great. It is bound to be great. But I definitely if I had to pick a winner, I'm going to pick South Carolina to win the championship. I think this might be the end of the road for South Carolina, but they love to recruit and they find players in the transfer portal as well. So they might re-up, but I mean, Gino Auriemma in that UConn squad, they're going to be a tough task. It really is. But I am going to take South Carolina to win it all.
Nice. We agree. Typical Raider fans agreeing.
I'm gonna have to run this show back. I gotta go do my DraftKings picks for MLB tonight. Salute to Mo. That is one. Mo is one betting guy. That's one thing I can say about him.
Mo Green 420.
Yes, he is. He is one betting guy, and I've known him for years now. And he finds ways. He finds ways to make that money. He has so many lineups. No matter if it's football, basketball. You want expertise when it comes to DraftKings, you go to Mo Green.
Yeah.
That's
well,
it. And my guy Porter City as well.
Yeah, I don't make enough money to throw it away like that. And if I did, I work too hard for it. So I'm that one that'll go to Vegas and play the penny slots.
OG type stuff, right?
Yeah.
OG type stuff. I don't mind that. Listen, I would go to Atlantic City and play the pennies, the nickel, the dimes. I don't care.
Yeah.
My mom go to Atlantic City all the time, and she play on like the quarter machines that come back with like $300. She do not care.
Yeah.
So
I feel that.
Yeah. But only the last thing I have to say about women's college basketball, just to let everyone know that we did have some breaking news yesterday that Notre Dame's guard Olivia Miles has forego to go to the WNBA draft, and she's going to do her 5th year in women's college basketball, but she will be transferring and entering the transfer portal, where that's really going to hurt for Notre Dame as well, because Notre Dame had Hannah Higalago, and Citron is going to the WNBA as well. But Olivia Miles has averaged almost 16 points a game. She hurt her ankle in the Sweet 16, lost to TCU, but she says she wants to forego and keeping players in college like that because of the NIL, and they know they're not going to make enough money in the WNBA. You're smart from doing that. I just wanted to throw that out there.
I agree 1,000,000%. And I mean, when you see Shedeur Sanders rolling around Boulder in a Bentley truck, I think they'll be all right.
Yeah, they'll be fine. But I mean, as far as like for women's sports in itself, I think it's smart for the women to stay into college, knowing that those NIL deals probably make just as more money than what they'll make if they go to the W. So that would be that would be smart on their end. And I think that's why you see a lot of these players that's not going into the draft, because one, they want to try to compete for a national championship, and two, they not making enough in the WNBA right now. Yes, and next year that collective bargaining agreement does go up next season, but it'll be a good draft next year, knowing that you have Olivia Miles and Ozzie Fudd leading the way, and J. Johnson from LSU.
Yeah, and that girl, that young lady, she's got a lot of swag, boy.
She's talented. If y'all remember the rap game back in the day, that's how I remember J. Johnson. She was a part of Jermaine's pre-competition, rap competition.
Yeah, I remember that too.
So she's making money as an artist, and she's on the Experian commercials. Like this, she's not even in the league yet, and she getting all this. Like I would stay in college too. Back in the day, it was in my heyday, I would have stayed in college.
I actually saw her on a commercial earlier today. She was like and I forgot what the company she was doing the ad for, but she was sitting like on a bench or standing outside, right across or right on the Mississippi River in downtown Baton Rouge. And I don't know if it's a national, it had to be a national commercial because it was on a national network. It may have been on ESPN, or maybe even, hell, I don't remember. It may have been the MLB network. I don't know what it was, but yeah, that young lady, man, she got so much swag, and LSU, even though they got put out. I mean, Kim Mulkey, she's a Louisiana girl, played at Louisiana Tech, won all those championships. Man, that team that she was on as a player, that's way before your time, D. But man, those teams were fantastic, and she's a prototypical point guard in every sense of the word.
And shout out to her too, because I was able to get a press conference with her when they played Kentucky in the SEC, not SEC tournament, but it was a regular season SEC matchup. I was able to do a Zoom press conference with her. So I thought that was pretty dope. So shout out to her. Shout out to LSU. Shout out to everybody that actually did a press conference with when it comes to women's college basketball, from Kara Lawson to Dawn Staley. I was part of those press conferences there. So shout out to them. But I want to get down to the nitty gritty. Now the glasses are on. Stephen A. Smith and LeBron James beef. Now I know you've been watching this, Willie.
I haven't.
You haven't been watching it,
and it's not it's by choice, because I am so sick and tired of Stephen A. Smith acting like he speaks for all of Black America when it comes to these political subjects. And
I'm not talking about political.
I get it, but I'm just saying, I decided I was not going to watch any more First Take. I was not going to watch any of his Stephen A. Smith. I'm not doing it, bro, because I'm starting to really disagree with him on a lot of fronts. So as a person that has been a call-in guest of that dude's show like 4 times, if he had a call-in show right now, number one, I'm not going to listen to it, and number two, I'm not going to take the time. I'm not going to take the time to call in. So, but I do know enough about it to speak on it, though.
Now, it all goes back to the video of him, LeBron James approaching Stephen A. Smith, don't talk about his son and stuff of that nature. That's how this actual conversation started. And of course, Stephen A. Smith wouldn't respond to what he said. LeBron went on Pat McAfee and responded to what he said, and they was going back and forth. But in this instance, I am going to defend Stephen A. Smith in this situation, because Stephen A. Smith has every right to criticize you. He has every right to criticize a player. He has every right to criticize Bronny. The only reason why I say that he's right to criticize Bronny, because Bronny is a privileged basketball player. He's privileged. And the only reason why I say that, because LeBron James, if it wasn't for you, would Bronny actually be in the NBA right now? If his name was not Bronny James, it was not the son of LeBron James, would he really be in the NBA right now? Absolutely not. That man didn't even average 4 points a game at USC. For him to get drafted in the second round, where you had so much other talented players that could have made it with that pick to the Lakers, but no, because this is LeBron James, and he actually runs the team. He runs JJ Redick. He runs the front office. He runs everything that goes to the Lakers. He gets what he wants. So in my take is this: people might be saying like, oh, because I seen the media say like, oh, LeBron James should have went to a black person's podcast and talked about it instead of going on Pat McAfee. We all knew what LeBron James was doing. We knew that Pat McAfee and Stephen A. Smith really don't have no friendship of like that. So LeBron went to go be petty. But at the end of the day, LeBron, you're approaching a guy that's criticizing your son, that your son is a scrub. I don't care what nobody say. Yeah, he is a scrub. He was a second round pick that went to the G League, and now he want to put up all these numbers. Stop that. Stop that. We're not going to sit here and try to discredit Stephen A. Smith from telling the truth. What facts are facts. The reason why Bronny James is in the NBA because of his father. Now, if his name was like, if his name was Darian Hopkins, and I didn't have no affiliation into the NBA, you really think my son would get in the NBA just because I'm not there? No. He's going to have to work his behind off. Did Bronny work his behind off? No. There's no way you let that man come out of conference tournaments, not the NIT, not the national tournament, not the WCB, whatever it is, tournament. He has not done nothing. So, LeBron, you're approaching Stephen A. Smith on the court. Don't talk about your son. Your son going to be talked about for the rest of his life because that's your son. He's in the NBA, and he got a hand-given invitation to the NBA.
Well, okay. Let me say this. I agree with you and Stephen A. when it comes to he gets paid $15 million a year to basically do what he does.
Talk about whoever and whenever.
Yeah, but he can talk about whoever and whenever. He just can't talk about them however. And that is where he crossed the line. Because
what did he actually say, Willie?
Well, I'm saying I'm talking about in terms of the beef. From what I've heard, that it was more personal than it was basketball. So if it becomes more personal, that's what I mean by you can't talk about that. That's the how that you can't talk about. You can't talk about him personally, not and knowing that LeBron James, who is the most polarizing athlete in this particular generation, and not expect some sort of blowback. Now, I think LeBron has made it a little personal about what he said on the Pat McAfee show by saying he was going to do this and that and all, stuff that we don't really care about to hear. But here's one thing I know about LeBron James. LeBron James he doesn't have thin skin like Kevin Durant, but you can tell that the GOAT talk and the legacy talk does bother him. And the bottom line is that I don't care. I don't care what generation, what this particular generation says about LeBron James being the GOAT. I will scream from here to the high mountains and to the lowest valley, back and forth, that LeBron James, in my book, is the third best player that I've ever seen in their prime. And Michael Jordan and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, that distinction goes to those two guys. And I would love for people to come at me, because I am so willing to continue to have a conversation like this, because all he does is continue to give me more ammunition to say why he's not. Okay? So I know that he's very thin-skinned about that. He's not going to win another championship. And y'all need to understand something. I absolutely hated Michael Jordan and those Bulls teams. My team was Isaiah Thomas and the Detroit Pistons, because Isaiah Thomas was, is, and forever will be my favorite player in the NBA. So I have no emotional soul tie to the Chicago Bulls, the Washington, then, or I guess they were the Wizards then too, the Birmingham Barons, the Chicago. I hated those teams, but this is the reality of it. And LeBron, we have to distinguish between the best of all time or the best that I've ever seen in their prime. We have to distinguish between the best talent and the best player. Mm-hmm. So when we talk about those ancillary type of things, Michael Jordan's going to always be number one in my book, no matter what.
Okay. Respectfully. Now, I will say this when it comes to GOAT talk.
Mm-hmm.
It's really, for me, for NBA itself, it's really hard to call someone the greatest of all time due to the eras of basketball. Now, you had your Wilt Chamberlain era. You had your Bill Russell era. You had your Hakeem Olajuwon era, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar era. You have eras where players dominated that era for a long period, for more than a decade. So for me, LeBron, is he the GOAT in his era? Possibly, yes. But is he the GOAT of all time over Michael Jordan and everybody else? No. Is he on the GOAT list? Yes. Because of the era that he played in. Now, I'm not a big LeBron fan, but do I respect the craft and respect what he done in the NBA? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really hard for me to say who is the actual GOAT in the NBA, because even before Jordan era, you've seen what Bill Russell was a player and a coach at the Boston Celtics. It won those championships in Boston with no 3-point line.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had the Wilt Chamberlain that scored 100 points, and he played for the Lakers. He played for the 76ers. You see him dominate as a big man. You see Kareem Abdul-Jabbar before he went to the Lakers, when he was with the Milwaukee Bucks, and how he dominated when he was there.
Mm-hmm.
You had the Magic era. Then after the Magic in Larry Bird era. In that era, had Isaiah Thomas in there. It had James Worthy in there. It had so many great players in that era. Then you had the Michael Jordan era. Then after Michael Jordan, who we had, the Shaquille O'Neal in the Kobe Bryant era with Tim Duncan and Kevin Durant. I mean, not Kevin Durant, Kevin Garnett and those boys. And right after that, there is a LeBron era. You have that era where you had the Carmelo Anthony's, Dwayne Wade's, that was in that draft. So for me to call somebody the greatest of all time, it really has to really be broken down into eras for me. To Bronny James, and going back to what you said, however, I just feel like sometimes I feel like with ESPN, and I'm gonna just be real, ESPN sometimes they like to push the button. Stephen A. Smith is like a person that don't hold back. He's going to tell you the real. That man was a journalist for the Philadelphia Inquirer for almost 15, 20 years. And he got a lot of scrutiny from the Philadelphia 76ers. He used to cover the 76ers for so many years. He used to get a lot of scrutiny where he used to scrutinize AI, scrutinize Larry Brown and them boys back in the day. But he kept it real. And I feel like if you're going to keep that same energy with Stephen A. Smith, LeBron James, keep that same energy with any media outlet from Fox Sports to us, to anybody out there that criticized LeBron James, not just going after Stephen A. Smith. Because I think this, if Max Kellerman says something about Bronny James and how great he was, would you approach to ESPN and he's on NBA Live and stuff like that on other networks, on other shows on that network? You just want to come at him. How is that fair?
Well, it may not be fair. And this is the part, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I do have some elements of conspiracy theorism in me. It would not surprise me one bit if all of this was staged. Not one single bit. If all of this
stage?
I'm not saying that I think it is. I'm just saying it wouldn't surprise me if it was. Look at where we are. Come on, man. Look at today. Look at today's climate, right? And there's one thing's for sure, Darian, and that's nothing's for sure. I mean, seriously.
Right.
But bottom line is stay away from the personal stuff. I mean, Stephen A., if you're getting personal with LeBron and Bronny, stay away from that. We have obviously seen and heard LeBron get personal with Stephen A. I mean, stay away from that stuff too. So,
right.
At the end of the day, they're going to sing Kumbaya, and you're going to see Stephen A. Smith executive producing something with LeBron James in it. I guarantee you. I'm just saying, bro. Just saying.
Speaking of another topic that's kind of like this, but it's not. Have you heard about the whole thing about with Shannon Sharp and Asante Samuel talk about the whole Deion Sanders? Okay. So
Give it to me.
So basically, Asante Samuel is out here saying that he's better than Deion Sanders. And Club Shay Shay, a.k.a. Shannon Sharp, let it be known that even on 4th and 1 with Cam Newton, like Asante Samuel, this is with I'm gonna just share my screen because this is gonna show it all, because this is what happened here, right? Somebody put this comparison up.
I saw this.
Yes. So Asante Samuel, yes, he has 7 interceptions. He has 2 Super Bowls, 106 games. To Deion Sanders, 188 games, we had 53 interceptions, 5 playoff interceptions, and 2 Super Bowls. And this is what Asante Samuel posted. He posted this on the Twitter. Let me just tell you something about this, Asante Samuel. And I'm gonna just put this on because I need to be up and close to personal, especially when I get my clip on open clips when I make this a short.
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna put you on the screen by yourself so everybody can see you. There you go.
I understand you was part of a great teams in the New England Patriots. We get it. We know you got the Super Bowls. But what impact have you made as a DB? The reason why people want to play the position itself is not because of you, Asante Samuel. It's not because of you. It is because of Deion and what he was able to do at the position with the Dallas Cowboys. We was able to do with the San Francisco 49ers. Even when he was with the Bear. Even in Baltimore, he was able to do stuff in Baltimore at the end of his career. But this man is one of the highest paid coaches in college football now. He has a sneaker that has rejuvenated to the new era. If everybody know about the Deion
Diamond
sneaker
Surf
from back in the day. Now, yes, and now it's popular in the NFL. And you have players wearing his cleats in the NFL. The man has two sons that's probably want to be in the NFL draft, Shador and Shiloh. Like Asante Samuel, we know we got Chis son, Asante Samuel Jr., that was with the Chargers majority. Yes, he's a good corner. But would he ever be up to Deion Sanders' caliber? No. And let me just break this down. Asante Samuel. Deion Sanders was so great at his position, nobody would throw his way. Nobody. Yes, you might have 7 playoff interceptions, and Deion only might have 5. But the impact is that the offense had to throw the ball to one side of the field because of Deion.
Mm-hmm.
Then on top of that, what did you do on special teams, Asante Samuel? You done nothing there. He had so many returns from punt and kickoff returns. This man played baseball. He was a 2-sport player. He revolutionized the game in his era. Asante Samuel, you don't have that impact for you to even compare yourself or even sniff a comparison to Deion Sanders. You can want to pull up stats all you want, but there's only one Deion Sanders.
I agree with.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. I agree with. Whoops. I agree with everything that you said. Everything. Asante Samuel was a good to great player. Deion Sanders. Now we're comparing primes. Now we're comparing primes. Not. I'm comparing prime. Let me put it that way.
Right.
Longevity or entire body of work for the career. That's you can in certain instances you can make arguments about that, but I think Asante Samuel was a good to great player. Deion Sanders was a great player to a freaking superstar, and good is not as good as great, and great is not as great as superstar.
Right.
So when you talk about Deion and his ability to really just, can we really say that Asante Samuel the first or senior, can we really say that offensive coordinators stayed up late at night trying to game plan against that dude? No, I don't think we can. Now, you may be able to say that in certain games or certain situations, but not for an entire season or an entire postseason or an entire postseason run over multiple years. And Deion played, when he played in Atlanta, that wasn't one of the better teams out there.
Right.
It wasn't until he went to San Francisco that he really took off the way that he did. And then, of course, going to Dallas. Now, I think when he got to Dallas, he was actually on the downside of his prime. Or when he left Dallas, let me put it that way. When he left Dallas, he was on the downside of his prime. But Deion,
he did play for the Atlanta Falcons. He was good with the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah, that's where he broke in at, because that's where he played. He played in an NFL game, caught in a helicopter, and then played in the baseball game in the baseball playoffs. And he actually has a World Series championship too. So while I understand what and can you put that back up on the screen real quick because I want to see it. So when we talk about this is the reason why you just can't go specifically on stats, or you can't really put as much weight in stats as some other individual or network or whatever might, simply because there's other things that factor into that. Deion Sanders was the best player on his team on the defensive side a lot of those years. Can we really say that Asante Samuel was the best player on the defense that featured Richard Seymour and Willie McGinnis and Ty Law and Lawyer Malloy and all these other guys? I don't know. It's debatable. And even if you say, well, yeah, he was, it's still so much of a debate to where it's not even a debate. Because when Deion was doing that, there was never a debate. Never. So
never.
That's my 2 cents.
And then to even talk about it, like, is even Asante Samuel better than Darrelle Revis? Like, are we really going to have that conversation? Even though Darrelle Revis might not have those championships like Asante Samuel does, but Darrelle Revis was a lockdown corner that nobody threw to his side. They threw to your side, Asante Samuel.
Yeah, but here's the thing about Darrelle Revis. Darrelle Revis couldn't play zone. He couldn't play zone the way that you would want an elite corner to play zone. Just like Richard Sherman, he was a cover 3 corner for Seattle, and he had a lot of help because he had Earl Thomas and Cam Chancellor backing him up.
Right.
Deion, I mean, name the safeties that Deion played with other than what, Darren Woodson? Or was Darren Woodson even there?
I think it was Darren Woodson.
Darren Woodson was there
in the later years. But after no.
Yeah.
It might have been Darren Woodson. It might have been. I'm not going to quote that, but I think it might have been Darren Woodson.
But the thing is, bro, is that it's not to disparage Asante Samuel Sr. at all. It's just that when you make comments like that, I mean, it just doesn't add up.
It didn't. I'm sorry to cut you off, Willie, but
oh, you good.
I had to think about what Shannon Sharpe said. When Shannon Sharpe said when he went into the Hall of Fame, he said it himself. He held every record at the tight end position when he got inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
So for Asante Samuel to come at Club Shay Shay and come at Shannon Sharpe for his position, boy, you're not even in the Hall of Fame yet. You're not even in the Hall of Fame, Asante Samuel.
He's not?
No.
Oh, well, then what are we talking about?
Exactly. The reason why you have those 2 Super Bowls is we want to keep it funky. Tom freaking Brady.
And Bill Belichick.
Do you really think if Tom Brady was not on them teams, you would have 2 Super Bowls right now? Absolutely not. Because you know why? You didn't. No, you was talked about on the Patriots, but you wasn't the it guy. You wasn't that guy on the defense side of the ball.
Right.
When it comes to tight ends, it comes to quarterbacks, stuff like that. You hear a Shannon Sharpe in the tight end conversation. You hear Tom Brady in the quarterback conversation. When it comes to top 5 corners of all time, Asante Samuel is not that.
Yeah, what's good? San Francisco Giants, love the broadcast. Amazing knowledge you both speak. Yeah, appreciate that, man. Darion's a lot younger than I am, so he's able to remember things a little bit easier than me. But I didn't realize that Asante Samuel wasn't even in the Hall of Fame. I mean, that should have, if you would have led with that, this conversation about this particular subject would not have lasted as long as it did. I can promise you that.
Yeah, it wouldn't have lasted that long, but I just wanted to get that, off my chest at the end of the day, because like stop trying to come after Hall of Famers, Asante Samuel, to build your platform.
Mm-hmm.
Like Shannon Sharpe knows what he's talking about. Even though Ocho Cinco is, him and Nightcap, Ocho Cinco's not in the Hall of Fame yet, but still, he knows his football. He was one of the top receivers of his era. He knows what he's talking about. He's somebody that still can be talked about as, where do you rank Ocho Cinco as probably the top receivers of his era? You can't say that about Asante Samuel. Asante Samuel left the league, and who knows what happened to him afterwards.
Yeah, and just on a side note, I don't believe Shannon Sharp gets enough love as being one of the best tight ends to ever do it. He just not, because it's the Gronk and it's Kelsey, and they leave Shannon out. Like, it's kind of disrespectful, bro, the way that they leave him out of that conversation. But he was a monster, especially when he was in Denver playing with John Elway.
You better see that bad boy twice a year.
Yeah. I mean, he was one of the first tight ends that actually lined up outside like a receiver. Right. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
I think media doesn't give him a lot of credit, but I think he's very humble. Now, because he did say, if you want to talk about Gronk or Kelsey being better than me, that's absolutely fine because they broke records. Cool. But anybody after that, you can't tell them that they better than him.
Yeah.
You can't. So, with that being said, that's just what it is when it comes to that. And I'm happy that Shannon Sharp addressed it, because the fact that Asante Samuel tried to come at Shannon, and you're not even in a Hall of Fame, that you can't talk to that man. If you go back and look at that video, Willie, he said, you know what you got, and you know what I got, and you don't got. He pulled out his Hall of Fame trophy thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't got this.
Mm-hmm.
So who are you to tell me anything? You don't got this. Get this first, and then you can talk to me.
Yeah, we know that that's not going to happen. So,
and I think we probably went through all the topics today, but I do want to throw this one at you. I do want to throw this curveball at you. Not baseball, but I do want to throw this curveball at you.
I get it. I get it.
How you feel about Geno Smith? That's a curveball for you, brother. That is a curveball for you.
You know what? I don't mind it, and there's a couple reasons why I don't mind it. Now, I understand that the Raiders are working on an extension, and it's not so much because, in my humble opinion, in my humblest opinion, I know that they're working on an extension, but I don't believe it's because they think that Geno Smith is just great savior, just going to come in and just tear the world up, light Vegas on fire. We know that is going to be a salary cap thing to reduce the cap number that he's going to be due.
Right.
So with that being said, I don't mind it, especially if either Cam's not going to be there, but if Shedeur falls to us at 6 and we go and get him, cool. Or even if Cam is gone, Shedeur is gone, and Jonty is still there at 6, I would love that too, because Jonty can be that guy like we talked about on the Raiders podcast back there in the season. Our running backs were terrible, right? But you said it's the offensive line, and I said, look,
I gave it the benefit of the doubt, bro. I did, but I mean, we got rid of the boy that I wanted to get rid of, and that was Andre James. I mean, we had to get rid of him, but I mean, I mean, even our running backs. I mean, I did like the way Alexander Madison did play at the end of the year. It's just that I gave the benefit of the doubt for Zamir White. I gave him a chance. I'm not giving him a chance this year.
Well, he doesn't deserve one.
Yeah, he doesn't deserve one. I'm not giving him a chance this year.
So in the famous words of Sidra from Love and Basketball, if Ashton Jonty gets to the Raiders, Zeus, never let a freshman take your spot. But it's gonna happen. Because he's gonna take your spot. But as far as Geno goes, I think he is a top 17, 18. He's in that. Let's see. It will probably be the third tier, because there's one tier with 4 quarterbacks, and then there's another tier with another 4 quarterbacks. So he might be in that third, bordering on that 4th tier. And Tyler Lockett needs to be signed by the Raiders, so that'll help him out too.
Now, okay, I don't mind the Geno Smith trade either. I don't mind it because of what he's done in Seattle with Pete Carroll. Not what he did this past season, but what he done with Pete Carroll. Now, this past season in Seattle with Geno Smith, his running game sucked. His offensive line sucked. So the numbers was down. Absolutely. And it's true. It's nothing wrong with that. But when he was with Pete Carroll, and if you look at the numbers when he was with Pete Carroll, the numbers were better.
Yeah, he had his best years under Pete Carroll.
He had his best years under Pete Carroll, and I loved it. I loved it. I mean, even though he had 4,300 yards this year with 21 touchdowns and 15 interceptions, if you look at the year that he was with Pete Carroll back in 2023, he only had 9.
Yeah, but they still won 10 games last year.
They still won 10 games last year. You know, so even the fact that they had an okay defense, even though they had Lockett and DK Metcalf, which both of them are not there now. Now, the extension, from what I was hearing, that guaranteed money is probably the issue on why they didn't get the extension yet. But I don't mind the extension. I don't mind them giving them that, because now we get to draft the quarterback in the later rounds and have him learn under Geno Smith. Now, we know AOC is probably going to stay there, but AOC is probably going to be the odd man out at this point if we go get a quarterback like a Jalen Milroe or a Jackson Dart or something of that nature in the later rounds. Because there's still going to be quarterbacks out there outside of Cam and Shedeur Sanders. Me personally, I don't think Shedeur is going to drop that far. I just don't see it. Because now you heard from the Cleveland Browns owner at the owner meetings talking about it was a miss on Deshaun Watson.
Yep.
I really think they're gonna go get Shedeur Sanders at the 3 overall, the 2 or the 3 overall pick. The Browns or the Giants are one of those teams that's going to get Shedeur Sanders. So
well, here's the thing too with that. The Giants, they have 3 quarterbacks, or they have 3 quarterbacks on their roster. They've got Russ, they've got Jameis, and they have
DeVito.
DeVito's
the odd man out if they get Shedeur.
Or Jameis might be the odd man out. Jameis just might be the odd. I mean, for that matter, Russell Wilson could be the odd man out.
It just depends on performance.
Exactly. So I'm like you, man. I don't have a problem with the trade. I don't believe at all that we gave up too much to get him.
Right.
I think the synergy between him and Pete Carroll is pretty cool. He's going to benefit from having Tom Brady in the building as well. And it's just like he said, a lot of people wrote him off, but he ain't right back. So he's still continuing that story that he didn't write back to. So he needs a running game. The tight ends that we have, and we didn't trade Michael Mayer yet, did we?
No.
Okay. So
there's been a lot of April Fool rumors about that.
But the thing is, though, is that our tight end room is dope. We need a number 1 receiver for sure. Jacoby Myers is not a number 1 receiver. We all know that. I heard whispers that Hunter Renfrow would probably sign here pretty soon.
I hope so too.
Which I think will help as well. We'll have the middle of the field covered and on point.
Right.
And I don't know about Tucker or DJ Turner's not even there anymore. So Tucker, I don't know if Tucker, he's a burner, but
I think he'll be a special teams guy.
But we need a number 1 receiver, bro. I mean, it's just what it is. So
do you think, I think it's still a lot of receivers out there in free agency, but I think they're going to wait until the draft is over to sign.
Yeah. And the thing too is that there seems to be some traction about Amari Cooper coming back. At this point, I don't want Amari Cooper. I actually, when he left and got traded, or he got traded to Dallas, I was happy that he got traded to Dallas because he disappeared too much. And Cowboys fans were like, oh, yeah, we got our number 1 guy. And I said, hold on, just wait. He's going to disappoint you. And that he did.
I wouldn't mind Amari Cooper's return, but the question is, I'd take him on a 1 year and still draft a receiver in this draft.
I can see that. Now that makes sense, but my concern, does it really address the concern of we still need a number 1 receiver? Because Amari Cooper at this stage is not a number 1. Stephon Diggs is not a number 1, especially coming off of an injury like he just had. So
I mean, if you want to look at the wide receiver free agents right now, I mean, it's not that many in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
it's not that many left in the NFL. I mean, I could just look at the wide receiver position in itself, and just looking at the players that got, you got Stephon Diggs that went to New England, Cooper Kupp. I think Cooper Kupp would have been definitely a big one, but he definitely get paid. He got paid really big in Seattle. Of course, DA went to LA. Darius Slayton stayed. Josh Palmer is with the Buffalo Bills. Brandon Cooks, I think Brandon Cooks would have been a good one for us too, but he went back to New Orleans. Like it's not really that many players right now. You still got a Keenan Allen that has not, didn't sign anywhere yet.
He's been linked to go back to the Chargers too.
He's been linked to go back to the Chargers. But like I said, like if we're going to go out and get Amari Cooper, get him on a 1-year deal, and go out and draft a number 1. Now, it could be a situation where the Raiders, we all think we're going to get Genty at 6, because this is what the Raiders do in the draft. We expect them to get the player that we want us to get, but it's always a flip side to when the Raiders draft in the first round. We've seen it multiple times that, like, we were shocked about, Brock Bowers last year. We didn't thought we was going to go Brock Bowers last year. I thought we was going to address other things besides Brock Bowers. Now, do we go wide receiver and go get the guy T-Mac from Arizona instead of Genty?
He won't be there. Oh, instead of Genty, yeah, okay.
Like, yeah. What would we do at that number 6 pick? Because now, like, when it comes to that, knowing that we need another 1 receiver and we need a running back, and this running back class is pretty deep. Even though if you don't get Genty, you still got the guy Blue from Texas. You still have Hampton from North Carolina. So Hampton is like neck and neck with Genty right now when it comes to pre-draft stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He's moving up in the ranks. So, I mean, even Scatterboo from Arizona State, that guy's a beast. So even if we don't get a running back, do we go receiver there? Do we go offensive lineman there?
I think this is, and for a long time it was Will Johnson out of Michigan, yep. But his stock is plummeted, man. I mean, he's dropping like a rock. I mean, he may end up going in the second round.
Mason Graham as well.
Yeah, he may end up going in the second round from what I've been seeing. But I think the Raiders' first choice is Shedeur. I think the second choice is Ashton, and the third choice may be the receiver from Arizona. I think, yeah, one of those 3 guys. If one of those 3 guys is who we'll get.
Okay, I'm not mad at that.
Yeah, one of those 3 guys.
But Raider fans out there, I'm going to warn you: if we don't get those 3 players,
or one of those 3,
if we don't get any of those players, don't be shocked. Because you know, when it comes to draft night for the Raiders, it is a heart attack in itself.
Nah, but I mean, come on now. We got a Super Bowl winning coach. We got a Super Bowl winning minority owner. That's why I say this does not
just break the curse. That's all I'm asking. Break the curse, because I was shocked about Brock Bowers. Y'all see my reaction when we got Alex Leatherhead.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, when it comes to these you see these first round picks that we got, I don't even think they're even with the Raiders anymore.
Well, they're Alice Leatherwood, Leatherneck, Leatherface. He's not even in the league right now. He was with the Bears, I want to say, his last stint.
Yeah, his last stint was with the Bears.
The Cleveland Farrell, I think he's in Carolina.
No, Cleveland Farrell is in he's in Washington.
Oh yeah, that's right. He's in Washington. He actually hasn't played bad.
Right, he hasn't played bad.
But he wasn't worthy of the 4th pick overall or whatever it was.
They did that. I think they picked him because they saw what he did in college football, what they did in the national championship that year.
Whatever. Anybody could have a great 1 game in college.
He had a great career at Clemson.
You're right. He did have a great career at Clemson. I'm not going to front.
But was he a 4th overall pick? No,
not at all.
He had a great year, and he had a great college career in Clemson.
Yeah, and then when you think about the Gary and Conleys of the world, the Henry Ruggs IIIs of the world, come on, man.
Jacobs was a 1st-round pick, but I mean that was the best 1st-round pick we had.
That's the only one that we got right in that whole. Well, was Max Crosby? No, yeah, was Max Crosby?
He wasn't a 1st-round pick.
But what I'm saying is that was he a part of that trade package that allowed us to get whenever we sent Khalil Mack to Chicago?
Yeah, he was part of. He was part of that. We got picks. Yeah,
because I remember somebody saying, "Yeah, we got our Khalil Mack." So and then he was the only one that we were able to get right out of that entire haul, because I remember people were comparing it like the picks or the assets that we were due. They were comparing it to the same thing that happened with Jimmy Johnson when he traded Herschel Walker to Herschel Walker to the Vikings and got all those picks, and then they went on and turned those things into Super Bowls. So this ain't that same regime, bro. And I need Raider Nation to relax, because this is not that same regime. We actually they got clout now, so you can best believe that they're doing their due diligence. And I think that if any one of those 3 players are available at 6, we will get one of them.
I think Raider Nation is just panicking because all the defensive players that left. That's probably why they're panicking. But I believe in Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll is a defensive type of guy. He has the right people, and he put the right people in place. Keeping Patrick Graham was a good thing for him. And I like Pete Carroll. Mm-hmm. Pete Carroll is a guy that players want to go play for. And if we don't get Hunter Renfrow, then it's going to be Tyler Lockett. It's going to be one of them that's going to be a Las Vegas Raider.
Yeah, no doubt. Hey man, let me play this commercial before we get up out of here. I need everybody out there that's dealing with mental health issues, all of that. Make sure you chime into this particular notice, because it is important that you understand what is going on. So I'm going to go ahead and play this right now. Here we go.
Are you feeling stuck, overwhelmed, or unsure of your next step in life? It's time to take charge with Don't Jump Life Coaching Solutions. I'm Patrice Epting, and alongside Willie, we're certified life coaches here to guide you through life's toughest challenges.
Whether it's mental health, relationships, or shifts in mindset, we'll help you discover your purpose and move forward with confidence.
Life doesn't have to hold you back. Take the leap with Don't Jump Life Coaching Solutions.
Schedule your free consultation today by calling 469-358-5241. Yeah, make sure you guys, man, make sure you hit us up. 20% off is what's being offered at this point in time. So you can go to don'tjump.net. You can sign up there, or you can hit me on hit us on Instagram at don't_jump_life_coaching_solutions_.
I gotta make that shorter, man.
Yeah, well, I try to, but and you're right, I do need to make that shorter, so I'm gonna have to work on that as well. But you know how it is. You know how Instagram is. This handle is already taken.
There's so many characters that you can use.
Right. Yeah. So it's all good. But yeah.
But for me, make sure y'all go check out the website dhimpactmedia.com. This podcast will be on there, even all the articles that I write on there. So make sure y'all go check that out. I do have a Las Vegas Raiders tab on there for all the videos that I post on for Las Vegas Raiders. So make sure y'all go check that out. If y'all would love to support the channel, make sure you go to buymeacoffee.com/DHImpactMedia. If you don't want to send super chats or anything of that nature, because YouTube likes to take their percentage out of their super chats and their revenue as well, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/DHImpactMedia. And that's basically it for me, man. Follow me on social medias, DHImpactMedia. And that's basically it for me, man. Hopefully we can get CTE back. Hopefully we can get that back soon. But stay tuned. We definitely will get that back. And Willie, you got any final thoughts before we head out of here?
Nah, man. Let's go ahead and get up out of here. I hear the music playing in the background. Yeah, it's gonna come in just a second. I'm telling you right now, this dude is spit. Check it out.
Fire.
All right, we out. I'll be good. I'll y'all later.
All right, see y'all later, man. We'll be back Thursday, same time.